Hello, all you hardcore boxing fans out there. How are you doing? It's Russ here from Porky's Corner, the voice of hardcore boxing. We say the things that nobody else dare say. Today, I'm joined by my good friend Rico from London. How are you doing, Rico?
I'm good, thank you. Yourself, Russell?
I'm all right, mate.
Before we start, can people remember to subscribe if you're watching this video and put the notifications on so you can receive a bell or you can receive an alert when the video comes out, and like if you enjoy the content and comment.
Thank you very much, Rico. I always forget to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I just put something on here before we start? I just want to show you something that Dale Nichols, the voice of hardcore pay-per-view, sent me. It's something that's slipped through the net and people forget. But where am I now? Here we are. Does everybody remember when Cougar and Cassius used to run and walk around in those?
Yeah, I do remember that.
This is IFL. We say what we want. The same IFL that can't get Billy Joe Saunders on their channel. The same IFL that are controlled by MTK. Isn't that right, Coogan? If MTK say, take them videos down, you have to take them down. So you don't say and do what you want. You are not Porky's Corner. You are a company man, Coogan. If you're not, come on my channel. I've got some questions for you. What are you afraid of? You're getting like Dennis Hobson, Coogan. Right, on with the show, because that's what it is, a show. Right.
Or a circus.
The circus.
The circus. And we've got different acts.
Right, I called it. I've been calling it for ages. I called it a long time ago, but I did say Derek Chisora and David A are going to create some beef, but they need a storyline. Enter Exhibit A, Your Honour. I've nicked that line off Ultratech. Sorry, Ultra. September the 11th. What a day that is in America. September the 11th. We have David Hay, the Haymaker, a.k.a. the Brass, versus Joe Fournier, a guy with millions who nobody's heard of, who just wants to be in the mix. Now, what do you think to that? Was I right?
You were right. And 2 weeks ago, I was watching, or I saw David Hayes' Instagram where he was holidaying with Joe Fournier and lots of women, and they were having a good time in Mykonos. So, so I think we have two mates here boxing and making sure they get paid well. I don't think it's going to be anything but a circus.
Your arms on me, kid. Do you know what they call me in Rotherham, Rico, now?
What, the Porkmeister?
The arms specialist. Yeah, go on, sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, look, David Hay and Fournier were holidaying 2 weeks ago in Mykonos, so in Greece. So there's not much beef in this fight. And David Hay used to manage Joe Fournier during his boxing career. They've been good mates for a number of years. So, yeah, I wonder how they're going to sell this fight. Have they fallen out over some girl, or what's going to happen here?
Didn't David A... Sorry. When David Hay got arrested going back to Dubai, do you remember, over the house that he bought out there? He didn't pay the money or something. It's quite serious, the law out there with money. They don't chase you, but if you go back, they lock you up, don't they, for any discrepancies? It's a bit like Vegas, isn't it, with gambling debts? Yes. Now, when David Hay went back out there to Dubai, they locked him up, didn't they, for about 24 hours, wasn't it, or something, in jail for the transaction that had not gone through. And is it right that it was Fournier that bailed him out?
Probably that seems to be his best mate. So
yeah, $500,000 quid, something like that. So
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Joe Fournier is known for his owning nightclubs and some fitness stuff, and allegedly being involved in the underworld as well.
Being involved in the underworld. You know, if he were ever in prison, when I were in prison, do you know what I would have had him doing? He would have had to send money into my account, mate, just to walk about on the wing. Underworld, fucking Underworld. Do me a fucking favour. Joe Fournier, Underworld. Joe Fournier, come see me. Fucking
Well,
underworld.
these allegations and these are things that have been going around a long time. People.
Fucking underworld. Do me a favour.
I mean, look, he runs a number of nightclubs, so I
Fucking hell.
other ways as well.
Peter Stringfellow had nightclubs in Sheffield, and he was supposed to be an underworld figure. But listen, when it come down to it, he was a fucking little crybaby.
Mm. But also, wasn't it Joe Fournier that failed the drug test a few times? I think.
Yeah, fucking hell.
He won some sort of WBC title somewhere in Puerto Rico, if you remember.
Let me tell you this, right, about these fuckers. Why is it whenever they want some money, they feel like they can just come back to boxing, put their hand into a biscuit barrel and just take what they fucking want? And I've been saying this for a few weeks. Look, when David A comes back, he'll come back to Rinses. He'll put videos out on Instagram doing all his little exercises and stronger, faster, quicker than a speeding bullet. He's eating kangaroo meat now. We've got all that shit to go through for him to build up the Chisora fight. Now, I mean, fucking yeah. How much more can I fucking take of this week? What the fucking hell? I've given up something pretty lucrative to come and do this fucking 6 years ago. What the fucking hell are we involved in here? All right. I might as well go back to doing what I was fucking doing, Anna. This fucking lot here. Bellew will be next. Bellew will be coming back next. They can't help them. They can't fucking help themselves. I don't know what to say, mate.
I mean, it's the same card. It's a Triller card, isn't it? It's got John O'Carroll headlining, but on the undercard you have Oscar De La Hoya and
fucking Oscar De La Hoya.
Yeah, Tito Ortiz and Anderson Silva. It's a very gimmicky card.
Oscar De La Hoya. You can't string two sentences together, right?
Well, he's fighting on the undercard, so.
Well, I don't see it happening, mate. I don't see it happening. I see it collapsing.
Could be.
It'll dawn on Oscar. Oscar De La Hoya's worth. And he's supposed to be worth $500 million or something. I mean, private.
I'm not sure is he anymore.
All right. I don't know. He were at one point when he were.
I mean, he's lost a lot of money in Golden Boy and other things, hasn't he?
All right then. Where does all this leave the can man, Dillian White? Anybody who wants it can get it as long as they're shite and over 40. Where does it leave him? Because his date's September 11th as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there's quite a few fights that day, isn't there? There's meant to be quite a few cards. So, I mean, Triller, which is interesting, the fact that it's on Triller, given that Oscar is DAZN's promoter, he's fighting on Triller platform. Whether that means that Golden Boy is not going to be too long on the DAZN platform, and maybe it's something that some of the fighters end up going to Eddie via DAZN. But where does that leave Dillian White? I imagine he's going to be fighting against some American that we haven't heard of that has a decent record. That's my guess.
Who's he going to fight? Ultratech calls him the Kool-Aid man.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's Trevor Bryant or someone like that.
Trevor Bryant? Has he got a belt?
Doesn't he have some sort of WBA regular belts or something that he's been holding for years?
It's I don't know what.
Yeah, he has a WBA regular. Beat Stevane earlier this year, so I wouldn't be surprised if he fought against him. Although I don't know whether Eddie wants to deal with Don King.
Where's Boxing Ed in Rico here now? Because one of my friends, Richard from Rotherham, has just sent me something, and he's on about taking all notifications off his phone for boxing, and you know the drug testing situation's a joke. These mandatories with rematches clauses are a joke. Have the sanctioning bodies, you know, like the Border Control and all these other sanctioning bodies, have they come basically puppets for promoters?
Oh, they have been, and they have been a long time. Probably even more so now. I mean, we see in this DAZN narrative, burn the belts, but when they have a world title fight, it's all good and it's for world title. And when it's not, it's all about burning the belts. And all these YouTubers, like all these boxing podcasts, such as Fight Disciples, are just mouthpieces for these guys anyways, and they say burn the belts.
Yeah, it's not good, mate, is it? It's not good at all.
I mean, people are celebrating the Matchroom Liverpool card as a great card. And what we have is Fowler against Beefy Smith, which is a fringe, sort of a British level, Euro level fight headlining. Then we've got two light middleweight fights. Shannon Courtney against somebody she should beat easily. Lots of other sort of fights that nobody cares about. People are saying this is good matchmaking and these are good cards. I mean, this budget that the Zone was meant to have is not exactly translating into better fights than it was on Sky.
Well, how I look at it is this: they've been serving that much shit up for the last few years that this Liverpool card now looks fucking brilliant compared to what they've been serving up. If you go back 3 or 4 years, it'd be laughed at, wouldn't it, this Liverpool show? But Costa's dross out there. I mean, look at Dennis's show, August 27th. Everybody's getting excited because Tommy Frank's fighting Kyle Youssef. Well, Tommy Frank's lost his last 4. So how is he getting a British title shot? Yeah, fair enough, technically it's 2, but he had 2 hometown gifts before that in Sheffield. And then you've got Tomlinson against the kid. That's a pretty decent fight. Kane Salvin against Michael Gomez Jr. for area belt. People are saying it's a mouth-watering show, but Dennis would have got laughed out of Sheffield years ago if he'd have put that show on. But now, in the current climate, it's supposed to be the norm. Throw Dave Allen into the mix versus TBA. I don't know what to make of it all. Is boxing serving up that much dross now that when we get at least 1 or 2 50-50s, we're all saying, oh, what a stacked card. It's like Dave Caldwell coming out, tweeting about this Liverpool show constantly yesterday on all these platforms, and huge card by Eddie and all this and blah fucking blah. We've got Beefy Smith, who's on the slide, and Fowler, who's not even at British level yet, is he really? He's fringe level to British, isn't he? He's caught between English and British. And Beefy's probably now at British level. So it's probably a 50-50 fight, isn't it?
It is.
And now we're all saying it's a mouth-watering fight and blah because of the shit that's being served up. And it's a Liverpool derby and all this load of shit.
I'll tell you my view, which is we had a pandemic for 18 months and that used to be used as an excuse not to put on good cards because we had no audiences and the budgets were lower. Now you do have fans and the Liverpool show is selling tickets and now they're putting on shows which are similar level, maybe a few more 50-50s, and yet they have ticket money coming in and the Zone money coming in, which is probably more than the Sky money, and they're serving similar amounts of, dross. So you tell me who's taking the money in between. If you have now ticket revenues and you probably have more TV money and you've got pretty cheap domestic fights on the card, where's the money going to?
Yeah. Moving on then from Eddie's Liverpool show, I want to watch that fight anyway, but don't start.
I think it's an okay card. It's not exactly a bad card, but again, I wouldn't be celebrating that. It's a similar level to some MTK cards. Yeah,
I don't want to be seeing Dave Caldwell and Bellew and all that bigging it up as like, you remember the Magnificent Seven show that Warren put on years ago? It's not in that league, is it?
No, I mean, we have people like the Fight Disciples, which is now the Zone podcast, used to be independent. The guy was tweeting about saying how he had tickets to go and watch Fury against Wilder 3 in Vegas, but he's cancelling those because the Liverpool show's coming. It's such a good card. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. All right, then moving on. Amir Khan against Kell Brook. Called it 3 weeks ago.
Let me give you some stats on that. Amir Khan's 34, Kell Brook's 35. Amir Khan's coming off a 2-year layoff. Kell Brook's coming off a nearly 2-year layoff. Amir Khan's last meaningful fight was 6 years ago against Chris Algeria, last meaningful win. Kell Brook's last meaningful win was maybe 5 years ago against Frankie Gavin or 7 years ago against Sean Porter. Both are 3-2 in their last 5 fights. So, not sure anybody wants that fight. I'm not sure it's going to it's probably going to be intriguing. People will probably watch it, but again, it's not exactly top level fights. It's two fighters way past their prime fighting against each other just to get some numbers on probably DAZN or somewhere else.
Did you know, Rico, that it's over 10 years since Amir Khan last won a world title fight? Over 10 years.
No, didn't know that, but doesn't surprise me either.
Zeb Judah, his last world title fight, an old man, in a dodgy stoppage. And I think it was July 2011. So it's 121 months since Amir Khan last won a world title fight. Kell Brook got smashed up, what were it, 5 years ago against Spence when he lost his world title.
5 years ago.
So we've got 1 5-year out in his prime and 1 10-year out in his prime. But yeah, these fuckers are running around trying to get this fight on. Dominic Ingle, Kell Brook's dad, stepdad, whatever you want to call him. Kell Brook, Khan's dad. Everybody wants to get them out. All got the noses in the trough, haven't they? It's a dog with fleas, this fight. And people should boycott this fight. Don't be coming on my fucking channel telling me that you're fucking buying this on pay-per-view. It's a joke. You're not hardcore if you buy it.
I wonder whether it's going to be on DAZN or whether it's going to be on Sky, because...
Well, this is a stumbling block, in it, that they've got now, because they want pay-per-view. Khan's lot, I've been told, and Brooks lot. And Eddie's subscriptioned up, innit?
Yeah, I don't see why Eddie needs to be involved in that fight, because at the end of the day, neither works for Eddie, and actually putting that on Sky and promotion on Sky would probably do better numbers. It's a bigger platform, Sky, they can advertise it more, they can get casual fans interested in it, whereas DAZN, not sure it makes sense to have it on DAZN or subscription platform unless they massively overpay both guys to get on there.
Would you watch it, Rico, on a free stream?
Yeah, I'd watch it on a free stream.
Okay.
But I wouldn't pay for it. No chance.
No. Do you feel that Amir Khan and Kell Brook have took liberties with fans because they've gone round the houses, haven't they? They've more or less milked every penny that they can get, fighting outside of their comfort zones, whoring themselves some money. Amir Khan against Canelo were whore behaviour. Golovkin fight were whore behaviour from all those involved. Ingle, Hearn, Kell Brook's dad, all of them pimped Kell Brook out basically to Golovkin, didn't they? And then don't worry about it. If you lose, you've got Errol Spence, who at the time had a bigger KO ratio than Golovkin.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So don't worry, you've got another killer waiting for you, Kell. Well, now that you've had one side of your face smashed, okay, Errol's going to smash the other fucking side. All right. Do you feel that, obviously Khan's got a better CV, but do you feel that they do not give a flying solitary fuck about boxing fans, a bit like David Hay and what he thinks about fans?
No, but I don't think boxers necessarily should. But what I would say about Khan and Brook is they both face very good opponents. I'd say about Kell Brook that he missed his prime, and that's partly because he was with Eddie. He should have went to Al Heyman after he won that Sean Porter fight, and then fought in the US against all these guys like Thurman, all the other guys around that time, a rematch with Danny Garcia, but he stayed with Eddie and ended up fighting against the likes of Kevin Bizier and Frankie Gavin and Jojo Dan and other guys that nobody really cared about. I think Khan has had an amazing career, to be honest, but Khan's been partially for the last 6-7 years, and he's just been selling his record. In all honesty, they should have made that fight 10 years ago, 7 years ago, right? That would have been a natural fight to make right after the Sean Porter win. Oh. Although Kell got his leg slashed, but that's another story for another day. But yeah, I think that fight should have happened a lot earlier. I don't think there's any point in trying to sell it now. It's past it. It's like Vladimir Klitschko coming back and fighting against Shannon Briggs. It's equivalent to that.
Yeah. Okay. Galahad. Looked good, didn't he?
He looked good, but Jazza didn't look good at all. I mean, look, Jazza Dickens won the golden contract. I don't know how he got ranked suddenly so they could fight for vacant title. But we know what Jazz's level is, right? He got smashed to pieces by Rigondeaux, and he's lost every fight beyond British level, more or less.
What about Eddie? He didn't give two fucks about Galahad at one point, and he didn't even put a purse. No, he didn't put a purse bid in. Said he didn't fancy him. Told people he wouldn't open his curtains to watch him. Now all of a sudden, hanging out the back of his hula hoop.
And now he's signed him on a new contract. So, yeah, I think, it's just classic Eddie, isn't it? It's all about who can make him money, and they can now get Galahad headlining against someone like Lee Wood or, some other fights. I don't think Galahad, they're not going to put Galahad near guys like from the US, are they?
No.
I mean, I can't see him fight against Santa Cruz, Navarrete. I think the winner of Lara Warrington might be good if you want to see a rematch, but that wasn't a great first fight at all. Isaac Dogbay, he might be a good fight for Galahad.
Okay. Would you say Galahad's best featherweight in world boxing at the moment?
No, Navarrete is, right? Navarrete beat Isaac Dogbay twice, and he's beat guys like Christopher Diaz and Ruben Villa. So I think he's definitely the best featherweight.
Would you like to see Stevenson fight?
Well, he's moved up, so
yeah, no, they could sort that out though, couldn't they?
They could. I mean, I wouldn't. Stevenson's a really, really good fighter. I don't think any of these guys come near Stevenson, if I'm being honest.
Well, I think that Kid Galahad might have the style to beat that Stevenson. What do you think?
Oh, you know what? Stevenson's a great boxer in his own right. So good amateur pedigree. He's young. He's improved a lot over the years. So I just don't see anybody coming near Stevenson, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
You look at Stevenson's record, he's fought real fighters.
Okay. Olympians. Eddie's told all Olympians that he's got... he's told... I'm not sure which outlet. He's got first refusal on all Olympians, hasn't he, apparently, all of them.
Does he? How?
I don't know. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I've just heard on Ultratext channel. I don't know if that's true, but apparently he's told somebody that he's got first refusal. But what I think Eddie means, because he gets a bit carried away with himself, I think he's told them, go speak to somebody and come and speak to me at the end. And they've probably said, yeah, they'll do that. But he's got McCracken as his lieutenant up here, hasn't he?
Yeah. And he's already signed Peter McGrail, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's already got him. And that Whittaker's in talks with him now, isn't he?
Yeah, I think with Whittaker, he'll end up signing 258, and that will determine a lot, because obviously he got Joshua's lot to pick him up in a Bentley from the Olympics when he landed, and they were all there at his party, not Joshua himself, at his sort of medal party. I can see a lot of the good guys from the Olympics or the stars signing 258 and then sticking with Joshua. So if Joshua sticks with Sky, they'll end up becoming his undercard fighters. And if if Joshua moves to the zone, they'll go with there. But I think they'll all want sort of a lot of isolation from Eddie, at least the best guys. I don't think people care that much about Peter McGrail. He might be a good amateur, but...
Do you feel that it's fair that Anthony Joshua is using facilities up here that are for amateurs, and that he's getting to see what fighters are going to go into Olympics and all that? Because Joshua's been up here now 12 years, so he's had a good look at what talent's coming through, and he's got the pick of them all. And do you feel that that's fair, that government-funded EIS allows Anthony Joshua to have the pick of the cream of the crop of the next generation of boxing stars? Is that right?
I think they're two different issues. So one is using the facilities.
Yeah.
It's not, Carl Froch used them as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, but Carl Froch were already coming to the end of his career, wasn't he, when he used them, wasn't he?
Yeah, but look, I don't know whether everybody can use them, or I suspect not. But given his trainers, Rob McCracken, it sort of makes sense. I know Buat's has been up there a few times and others, and people go there for sparring. Picking of talent, I mean, look, that's how boxing works, right? People scout around these gyms but he's a management guy, and I think a lot of guys will end up wanting to go down to be managed by him, the same way as young fighters went and got managed by Oscar De La Hoya. If anybody else wants to do their due diligence and build relationships with these amateurs, they can, but you know, it only seems to be Matchroom and others that are doing it.
Yeah, interesting.
Like, why isn't Frank Warren doing it?
Well, Frank Warren ain't doing it up there because Robert McCracken's director at building, isn't it? So yeah. Frank Warren can't, and McCracken and Warren don't get on, do it? Sims and McCracken, they don't speak to Warren, do they? So Warren's not going to get any pull up there. It's McCracken building, isn't it? Richie Woodall, McCracken, Sims's. They're walking around there, the fucking AKA skins, Joshua. It's got on lockdown up there, haven't they? I've been up several times. Can Eddie Hearn deliver for these 2021, 20, whatever you want to call it, Tokyo Olympians, the 6 Olympians? Can he deliver? Because has he delivered for this last lot?
He hasn't delivered for the last lot, and I think that should be a cautionary tale on if you entrust in Eddie, you might be shutting a lot of options out, and your career might be stalling. So I think these guys and girls should really shop around and see who's going to give them the best plan. And I wouldn't be opposed some of these guys going to Wasserman and Sky. I'd like to see a bit more sort of power going that way, because I think everything on DAZN isn't exactly the best for boxing. Yeah. Because that's when we had the best crop, right? When we had 2012, a lot of these people ended up, and 2008, a lot of these people end up with Frank Warren and then Matchroom and other places, and they moved around. And I think that's the best way to do it.
Do you think that the funding's getting distributed correctly, Rico? Because boxing's had its funding cut again, hasn't it, up there?
Yeah, I was looking at this before we jumped on. So boxing gets £12 million funding. They said to lose about 5% of that. Then just in comparison to other sports, hockey gets a similar amount, swimming gets 18 million, and cycling 24 million, which is twice as boxing. But my view is that actually, given the funding they put towards this boxing program, having 6 medals, 2 golds, 2 silvers, and 2 bronzes it's all right. I mean, I would imagine a lot of these other Olympic committees don't fund their boxing as much. Are they actually? Has it been a massive success, or is it more to do with the talent of the fighters initially? If Ben Whittaker would have stuck with Joby Clayton, who's his godfather and sort of trainer for a long time, and trained with him and then come to a few camps at EIS, would have he performed worse or better than he was performing in the Olympics? I think he would have performed the same, if not better. I don't think the funding exactly correlates to the amount of medals we should be getting, but again, it's not sort of like somebody like Lauren Price necessarily. I think actually female boxers probably benefit more from being there than a lot of the male boxers.
Okay. Just a quick one on that. Joshua Boazzi, do you feel like he's on a road to nowhere at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, look, people are going to be hyped up about this Bolotnik fight this weekend. Just a moment.
Okay.
So Bolotnik is what is he? 18-5.
Yeah.
He won the golden contract, but it's not really a step up, is it?
Step down.
Yeah, I mean, where's he going with this fight?
Callum Johnson took the Batavia fight, didn't he?
Yeah, is this one step close to a world title? I don't think so. I don't think anybody outside of Europe knows who Bolotnik is.
Josh Kelly, what's happening with Josh Kelly?
The missing man. What's happening with David Tavanesian? That's the real question.
Josh Kelly, David Evanesian, Conor Benn, Chris McKinson. Why haven't we got a round robin there?
I don't know. I mean, look, Eddie's quite happy to do with light middleweights round robins, but I think there's too much money in Conor Benn to risk him fighting against anybody that's a dangerous opponent.
It's on big money, Conor Benn, isn't he?
Well, he will be, yeah. I mean, he's one of the biggest names in Matchroom, so they're not going to risk him against someone like Abanesian.
David Avenetian
Pains in the UK, doesn't it?
David Avenetian, Conor Benn. It is a great fight, and I think that we can. The jury's out on Conor Benn for me. The jury's out. I mean, people are losing the shit over him, aren't they? Ozzie Smith's lost his shit over Conor Benn, but he's entitled to his opinion, and Ozzie's a likeable kid. But who's Conor Benn really beat, though? Come on. Formella?
Yeah.
What has he won? He's not won anything, has he?
Formella's known for going 12 rounds with Sean Porter taking an absolute pasting. I mean, that's not really...
He's not won a belt, Conor Benn, yet, has he had at 6 belts?
It's not even that. He hasn't beaten an opponent I can think actually he's going to be world level. And the welterweight division is one of the deepest in boxing. So, you know, when Teofimo Lopez goes up there, you'll have him, you'll have Virgil Ortiz, you'll have Jerome Ennis. You still have Pacquiao, Spence, Porter, Terence Crawford, others. So you need to fight against somebody that gives me confidence that you can actually beat these guys, whether that be Virgil Ortiz in 2 years or even somebody like Jerome Ennis in 2 years.
All right. Tyson Fury. Oh, sorry. We'll just finish off on this. Does Conor Benn beat David Avenetian if they fight this year? Yes or no?
No.
Does he beat Josh Kelly?
Potentially. I think Josh Kelly's not mentally one of those fighters that when the going gets tough, I don't think he can take it.
Yeah. Conor Benn's shown heart though when he's been in fights, and they've set about him. He's shown heart like his dad, so maybe that might stand him in good stead. But I make Josh Kelly a favourite against Conor Benn. That's it on that. Tyson Fury. Have the public turned on him for the heavyweight division at the moment? Dylan White says they have.
I think we have to remember that we live in a boxing echo chamber, don't we? So we see what boxing fans are saying and boxing content and everything else. So I think we, as boxing fans, probably have turned on him, or some have. I haven't been a fan of his for a long time because it's all the chicanery that comes around with Tyson Fury and all the lies and the stories and everything else. But I think the public, you know, they're blissfully ignorant, aren't they? They're like, oh, he had COVID, he can't fight, so they'll fight against Wilder. And I think the whole Joshua Fury thing has left a bad taste in a lot of public's mouths about boxing.
Well, the casuals, according to Frank Smith at Matchroom, who was whispering it to the chosen few, but not on his Twitter, Frank? Frank Smith's telling the chosen few that people are turning off from boxing, the casuals. Do you think that's a worrying times for boxing, Rico? Do you think that this Wilder Fury and Joshua against Fury, do you think that them fights not happening have put the fans in a situation where they're distrusting of boxing people?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, think about it this way in football. If we had the Premier League and Man City, Liverpool, and let's say Man United never played against each other, but they only played against other teams, it's not the best product. The best product and the best sort of experience in any sport is seeing the best fight against the best. And you know, we've been calling for the Tyson Fury against Joshua fight for the last 5-6 years. We've been calling for the Joshua Wilder fight for 5-6 years. All these fights, like Joshua Usyk, is an interesting fight for hardcores, but nobody on the street knows who Alexander Usyk is. So why can't the best two British heavyweights fight in the biggest or one of the biggest fights in world boxing? And if you can't get that, how are you going to be interested in the sport?
Yeah, if they can't deliver the biggest fights, and the casuals turn off because they're the ones that are driving it, it must be worrying times for Eddie Hearn as well. That's why he'll be gagging to bring pay-per-view back now with his own, won't it, instead of the subscription thing. Yeah,
I mean, and they're going to jack up their prices. I reckon after fight camp, they'll say this is an introductory offer, and they're going to put it up to $5.99, which is £1 less than Netflix. Actually, £2 less than Netflix. And then people are going to have to start asking questions like, do I want to be paying £6 for another subscription that delivers me value every other Saturday, or I can watch a show every other Saturday. It starts to rack up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
When you have Netflix, Amazon Prime, The Zone, maybe some people might still have Sky if they're boxing fans and waiting for what happens with Wasserman and the Premier League's coming back. You might have BT Sports. It's not good, is it?
No. All right, then. Let me just finish. We'll just finish off on this. Dennis, I know you're watching. You've probably seen the billboard that we put up in Manchester. Give Dennis the opportunity to come on the channel to answer some questions about some people that have been complaining that they've been fighting on Dennis's shows and paying to go on the shows, pay to play sort of thing, and ticket deals and all that. And he obviously Dennis hasn't come on the channel. He don't want to face me, but. What's your take on these ticket deals and fighters paying to play? If it is happening, we don't know. We haven't spoken to Dennis yet. We need his opinion on it. We're not accusing Dennis of anything, but people are saying that fighters are paying to play. If this is true, where do you think this leaves the sport of boxing, RIKU?
I think generally, not just shows that you're talking about, but I think generally I don't think boxers should be on ticket deals, but I do understand why it happens.
Yeah.
I think what ticket deals do is they lower the standard of boxing, and the reason is those that sell more tickets end up becoming attractions on shows. It's like if we measured football clubs by their fans, and those were the ones that had the most fans were the ones that were always on television, which certainly happens to an extent, doesn't mean that you're going to get the best football. And what ends up happening is you get a lot of fighters that will fight 3 or 4 fights and then retire because their ticket deals or their ticket sales dry up.
Right.
Too many people are turning over, and I think the board also are to blame because too many people are turning over without much skills and qualifications. I mean, you could train for 12 months and get if you weren't Porky, but anybody else could train for 12 months and end up getting a license from the board and end up going on a small hall showing anywhere across the country if you could sell 300 tickets.
Dennis has had 13. Dennis will have put on 13 shows since the last one at Barnes and Metrodome with Josh Whale, right? 13 shows, 30 odd debuts. I want him to come on my channel and tell me how many of them 30 odd are from White Collar, because I know I've got it wrote down here and it's all online, but I want to hear it from him. And that's why he didn't come on here, because he knows how organised I will be for something like this, because he's seen me work, hasn't he? So he knows what I'm about. He didn't face me, but it were all right when he was saying, "Oh, they're a great lad, they putting billboards up asking Eddie Hearn to come on your channel and rinsing him." Well, it's Dennis's turn now, because too many people, people in glass houses shouldn't throw stone, basically. And I'm giving Dennis the opportunity to come on here and answer some boxing questions. People that are not happy with the quality and the standard of his shows. Now, people in the industry are saying it's white collar level. We're not saying he's putting white collar shows on, but the standard has been lowered. And I'm going to ask him some questions, and I'm going to pull some clips up from interviews, what we've done, because I've done over 50 interviews with him. And I'm going to say, well, what about this, what you said, Dennis? And this, I've got it all ready. We put a lot of time in, but he swerved me, hasn't he? So I don't know how I'm going to go about it. But Dennis, you're welcome on here anytime, but don't be a bottle job.
You should do a head-to-head mediation, maybe where Terry and I come up to Sheffield and then we sit around the table.
Yeah. Well, we've had a production team email Dennis, and SYPS will pay their invoice to come and film it, but he's bottled it. So you can't have it all your own way. But what it is, you see, when a bully gets confronted, they run, like John Fury. He don't open his mouth. He don't want to take Mickey Theo on me. But when a bully gets confronted, they go silent, like Billy Joe Saunders. He did come out and do an interview about Canelo. Oh, no. 15 weeks now, we can't get a peek out of him. You know why? because the whole world saw it and the whole world knows what happened. So once a bully gets it put on them, they go fucking quiet, don't they?
Hey,
So
Ben Davidson said that he was begging to stay in the fight in the corner, didn't he?
Fucking Ben Davidson. Fucking Ben Davidson will not be in boxing in 2 years, trust me. He'll be found out. There's no shortcuts to success. He's a trainer for the future, but people need to stop fucking saying he's Ring Magazine trainer at year. Do me a fucking favour. On strength for what? I think that's about it. We've covered everything. I've got Terry coming on at 10, so it's 5 to 10 now, so I'm going to burn rubber. Thanks for coming on, Rico.
Pleasure.
You're a gentleman.
Like, subscribe, and join the members area.
And join the members area, $5.99. And don't forget to leave a comment and share it on your WhatsApp. All right? Peace out. Cheers, mate. Bye-bye. Bye.